Hello, everybody. So this has been happening a lot recently with my clients, and I thought if it's happening for them, it's going to be happening for you guys. So let me help you. Let me share my insights. When people say I've not had time to, and then insert any kind of sales activity. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to talk more about social media, but you can apply it to other things as well. Why are you not getting your message out there? Why are you not doing the things that you need to do to get seen by your clients? And it usually boils down to these things. I mean, yes, there's more, but here's the more frequent things that I've heard over the last few weeks and how we can shift that so that you can get started, you can get your message out. So the first thing is we don't know what to say or when to post it. It just seems a bit confusing. There's a lot of stuff, and I just don't really know what to do. There's a fear there of saying the right or wrong thing. And that causes a lot of pressure and a lot of overthinking. So it's easier for your brain to push it away and be like, well, I'll do that when I can think about it more. I'll do that when it's a bit calm. I'm a bit busy right now. When actually the idea that you had probably was a great idea and would help people. So yeah, that whole like I just don't know what to say or what to do. We're just overthinking it. That causes it to be more tiring. And for you to think you need more time than what you need. And there's loads of sort of scheduling tools out there or things you can do to help with social media. You could even outsource it. But for the purpose of this, you doing it, what I help my clients with is we look at what are the questions that your potential audience are asking themselves. It could be, how do I get more sales? How do I get more leads? It could be, how do I stop wasting money on recruitment? How can I lower my attrition rate? Could be anything, whatever it is in your field, you will know this. If you just spend a few moments thinking about what questions do I get asked, how could I maybe turn that into some posts that would really help my audience? And when you start asking that, they start leaning in because it's relevant. It's things that they are thinking about themselves. So to make things relevant and to make it make sense, think about it from your client's point of view. What is it that they're asking themselves? And you could actually get three or four, we'd probably call them content pillars, but like little buckets or topics that you talk about. For example, mine are sales process, sales results, sales mindset, and sales conversations. That's what I tend to talk about. So it makes it really easy. I've got them here behind me, and I just look at them and I think, what's going to be really helpful for my audience today? What's come up that I could share with them? And that's where this video's come from, for example. I don't know if it's the right things to say. I just think that I've got some insight. I'll share it. It's going to be helpful for people, and that's as simple as it gets. So the overthinking and the overworking causes it to feel like that you need more time, but you don't. You set on the biggest word processor ever, which is your noggin, and just use that. Start tapping into it from a customer point of view. So when you think I don't know what to say and that thought drops in, what if I did know what to say? What's going to be really helpful? This could be top tips, it could be sharing an insight, it could be educational, it could be talking about what you do, the result you deliver, how you help people. How can you make it easier for someone to like digest something? How could you make it easier for them to get started or see something different? There's so many ideas. Like what's going on in your diary? How could that be helpful for some of your potential clients to know that? But always thinking from how's this helpful for my client? Someone that's watching, thinking about getting started, feeling a bit nervous, what would they need to hear and see from you? So you do know what to say. And it's the overthinking that causes you to think you don't have time for that. The second thing is the frequency is inconsistent. So people don't get a good grasp of what it is that you do. You're there 1 minute and gone the next because you get busy. And so it's seeing the longevity and the compound value that keeps giving, giving, giving after you've posted. You're creating a network and a community. It's not a one and done. I've put a post on, where's the sales at? It doesn't quite work like that. So we need to be consistent. And that consistency doesn't have to be every single day. There might be a thought that tells you you don't have time for this, but actually, how much time would, like 10, 15 minutes putting a post together? How often could you do that in the week? And most people will say at least once. So that's your baseline minimum. I'm going to do one post a week. I'm going to do it on a Friday, and that's what I'm going to do. People start leaning into it. They start seeing it. They start knowing that you post on a Friday and highly valuable stuff. I'm going to ring the bell on LinkedIn and I'm going to lean into what she's talking about. There's no point in setting yourself up for failure. If you can't post every day, you don't want to do that, don't do it. But set some business standards around what you're going to do and then book that time in. So it's already secured. So it's not time, it's just we're not prioritizing it. Which leads me on to the third thing, which is that we don't see it working quick enough. So what's the point? I'm not going to prioritize that time because I'm not seeing a result quick enough. And this is what we do in sales, in any aspect of sales. We underestimate severely the amount of effort, time, energy, volume that we need to do this to get a result. And then we'll overestimate the speed of getting the result and the like gravity of the result, the like volume of the result. We always get that the wrong way around. So we might have to post consistently for 3 to 6 months before we start getting known in our industry. And if we think we haven't got time for that, we're not going to do it. If we think we can always pull that result forward quicker, we can do a little bit more, but we have to be prepared to do the work and put the effort in here to allow a result to flush out over here. And if you're saying I don't have time for that, then no, it's not going to happen. So the frequency is inconsistent, and then we're not prepared to do the stuff we need to do before we see the result. We have to do the work in spite of the result. We can't, we have to take our best guess, we have to get out there, we have to get the messages out there. And then the final thing is we're worried far too much, we consume ourselves far too much around what people will think and how it's going to be received. And I'm just going to clean this up really simply for you. And that is just complete wasted energy. It's just a complete waste of time to think like that because you're not in control. You're never in control of what people think. You're not in control of how it's received. So we have to go back to that core internal like belief of what was I doing it for? Because you could put something out there and it triggers people, and maybe that's not what your intent was. Your intent was to educate. But as long as you're okay with that, you're like, well, my intention was pure and good. I can't help it. Maybe we work how we word something. So go back to your intention. And for me, it's always about giving value, educating, helping people, breaking something down, top tips. How can I help make sales simple and easier for people? That's basically the thought that I've got. How could I maybe help them get started with something? How could I help them take the first step before they even pay me any money? Like I'm giving that value out there. So it's easier for me to come up with ideas, and it's easier for me to just be okay with giving it a shot because that's where my come from is. That's where I'm coming from. And if it doesn't chime and it doesn't land, that's okay too, because you're not going to know that unless you go and give it a go. So you actually need that valuable intel, those measures, not just the vanity measures of the likes and the comments and the engagement, but how's it landing from a compound value with my audience versus one individual post. And the thing that I do is when we have a sales call, I do ask people, where did you see me from? Or what made you reach out in this moment? And if they say something like LinkedIn, I will ask them what post resonated with you. Because again, we want to do more of that. But we have to be prepared in spite of all of this, what we've just talked about, to give it a go in order to know what works or not. Because you sitting at home in your office, you're not going to know. You just don't have that intel. We need that reaction from people. And so just being prepared to put the message out there, to take your best guess, to give it the beans, so to speak, like let's just give the audience something that I think is really going to help. Decide a frequency that you can commit to. So in 6 months' time, could I still be committing to this frequency? How do I get that booked in? And then how do I prioritize it so that even when other stuff's happening in the business, I'm still prioritizing this vital exercise because it's going to pay off later on. I can't always see the payoff now, so it's easy for me to just like let it slide. But how can I shift that mindset? And that's what I help my clients with. So if you're not getting your message out there, you're worried about how to position it, what is it that you actually sell? How do you explain that to clients? I actually offer a 3-month sprint at the moment where we work together every week for 12 weeks and we go through that. How do I sell myself? How do I position it? How do I make it make sense? So I can start getting some sales calls booked in and start converting them. I don't worry about it's difficult to explain what I do or how to get content out there. So if that sounds like something you're struggling with and you'd like to work on that, book a consultation call. It's in the comments below, and we can get started in January on that. And I'll speak to you soon.